Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you. I'm Len Matopic and welcome to Cats and Dogs. And yes, it's 2021, which means 2020 is over. And that means all the problems of 2020 have been left behind and replaced with, well, exactly the same problems in 2021. But this week I do have good news for you if you're a woman and you are living in Saudi Arabia. King Salman has announced that his kingdom has embarked on a dramatic reform journey to empower women. It's all very exciting. As the kingdom drives itself along the road of progress, Saudi women are allowed to get in the front and drive that car. Yes, thanks to King Salman's blessed era, Saudi women can sit in the driver's seat, put their foot on the accelerator and drive themselves to their destination instead of driving themselves into a court case and then prison. What an amazing giant leap forwards. Women can finally drive cars in Saudi Arabia. If that's not a reform, tell me what is. I wish I was a woman living in Saudi Arabia, except that I don't really like driving, so actually, I wouldn't be glad of that reform at all. But hey, that's just me. Back in 2017, Saudi women were also promised they'd receive national ID cards in their own names within 3 years. Why? Well, obviously, because that way they can be fined for traffic offences now they're driving cars. I'm not sure if they received those ID cards or not yet. But either way, women are the winners. Think about it. If they get the ID cards, then they will be regarded as normal citizens, or as those wacky Western countries call them, human beings. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But if they haven't got the ID cards, it's even better, because then they can break all the traffic laws, and because they don't exist, I guess their husbands will get the fines. Anyway, all this women's liberation, isn't it amazing? If the Saudi kingdom isn't a land of milk and honey for women, then tell me where is. Thanks to the golden age of bin Salman, Saudi women can now drive cars, just like women in, say, England. And they've been only doing that there since, let me check, yes, since 1897. Meanwhile, the Saudi Ministry of Human Resources has also unveiled a special plan for employing women in public and private sectors. Surprisingly enough, many Saudi men have welcomed the plan. It's a time saver. Now men don't need to go all the way home during the day to beat their wives. Their wives will be able to drive to the office instead, saving husbands valuable time and trouble while avoiding the risk of an accident with all those dangerous new women drivers on the roads. The Saudi authorities have also a special court for women's rights activists, judging by how they've handled women's rights activist Lujain al-Hathlul. This special court is called an anti-terrorism court. Why they should be referred to as anti-terrorism courts was a mystery to me until I asked around, and I heard something about the kingdom's constitution, which, I'm told, says something like this. If you call for free elections and drive a car, that could mean you're a terrorist. Really? I mean, I've seen some dangerous driving in my day, but how bad does it have to be considered an act of terrorism? And here's another thing. If the empowerment of Saudi women is like the empowerment of the Saudi Air Force, it's certainly doomed to failure. I bet you men are getting pretty worried now. But if you're feeling discriminated against, you can relax. Although the Saudi authorities care a lot for women's rights, it doesn't mean they're paying less attention to men's rights. They want both men and women to enjoy the same freedoms. Recently, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman thoughtfully welcomed loads of male members of the Saudi jet set to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. and then he locked them in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been in the Ritz-Carlton myself, and if you've got to be in prison, that's not a bad place to do it, because the room service is great. Saudi is also offering other rights to possible threats to the establishment, like the right to mysteriously disappear, the right to get arrested, and of course, the right to end up dead. Weirdly, Nick Dyer, UK Special Envoy for Famine Prevention and Humanitarian Affairs, praised Saudi Arabia for saving Yemen from famine. But hang on, didn't the Saudi war there cause the famine in the first place? Praising them for stopping starvation there would be as nutty as some country leaving the European Union, or someone nominating Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, those both happened. Forget those examples. Now it's time to see what our Cats and Dogs time machine has in store for us this week.
"1,000 years ago, scientists declared they could get humans to Mars. Saudi princes who were rich back then purchased all the tickets. A few days later, a number of Saudi women's rights activists disappeared. The Saudi crown prince of the time said he had no idea about their whereabouts. One year later, it was leaked out that King Salman had forced the activists into exile. To wean the kingdom off crude, the Saudi authorities arranged tours to Mars, but the passengers of the first tour were long unaccounted for. Later on, the Saudi crown prince virtually visited the only survivor of the tour. Meanwhile, Riyadh declared it had inaugurated a research center to study life on Mars. But when NASA scientists visited the center, they came across a very unexpected scene. The Saudis also had an ambitious plan to build a nuclear power plant on the Red Planet. They had their last trip to Mars when their spacecraft, overloaded with yellow cakes, enriched uranium, and fuel rods, couldn't overcome the force of gravity.
Let's get back to human rights in Saudi. And I'm pleased to say we can now talk with a Saudi crown prince who apparently has been living in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel since 2017. Please welcome to Cats and Dogs, Turki bin Abdullah Al Saud. Prince Turki, can you hear me? Hello?
Oh yes, sorry.
What's going on, Prince? Are you having some kind of revolution?
No, it's just a party. Hey you! Turn that music down. I'm on the phone. Sorry.
No problem. But tell us more about all this talk of reforms.
I've lived through some radical reforms here.
For example?
The hotel has totally changed the room service menu. It was revolutionary.
I didn't mean the menu in the hotel.
Well, we have been locked up here for 3 years, and we don't know when King Salman is going to, let's say, move over so we can come out. The Crown Prince says he wanted to do a coup against him, so we're kind of living here.
So he's frightened you might try to overthrow his leadership?
Well, yes. But my friend says it's because he doesn't like our music. I think he prefers ABBA.
Okay. You were studying in the United States, so why did you return to Saudi Arabia?
Actually, that's the strange thing. They called me to help them in their women empowerment project. When I came here, I saw many other princes here, so I thought either this is a fancy wedding or the empowerment project was serious. But after a year, we began to suspect that being locked in the hotel was no accident.
What can you tell us about the future of the Saudi kingdom?
Well, they are going to have an election.
An election? Really?
Yes, but it's a very simple election. There is no electoral college rubbish here. Not after the way they treated Donald in America. No way, Jose, as they say in Mexico. Plus, no ballot papers or ballot boxes to save trees. Instead, Bin Salman is going to invite princes to his palace to choose between him and death. The election results will be declared at once.
Who came up with all that?
I think it was Donald Trump. It's what he wanted to do in America.
Thank you very much, Prince Turkey, and bye-bye. The world should know more about this cradle of freedom and democracy, but not this week, because that's all we've got time for. But join me again here on Press TV to find out who's been banned from campaigning for human rights, who's been banned from driving, and who's been banned from playing their music. I'm Len Topic, and that was Cats and Dogs.